Chapter 11. Love makes the difference. Love is not our only emotional need. Psychologists have observed that among our basic needs are the need for security, self-worth, and significance. Love, however, interfaces with all of those. If I feel loved by my spouse, I can relax, knowing that my lover will do me no ill. I feel secure in her presence. I may face many uncertainties in my vocation. I may have enemies in other areas of my life. But with my spouse, I feel secure. My sense of worth is fed by the fact that my spouse loves me. After all, if she loves me, I must be worth loving. My parents may have given me negative or mixed messages about my worth, but my spouse knows me as an adult and loves me. Her love builds my self-esteem. The need for significance is the emotional force behind much of our behavior. Life is driven by the desire for success. We want our lives to count for something. We have our own ideas of what it means to be significant, and we work hard to reach our goals. Feeling loved by a spouse enhances our sense of significance. We reason, if someone loves me, I must have significance. I am significant because I stand at the apex of the created order. I have the ability to think in abstract terms, communicate my thoughts via words, and make decisions. By means of printed or recorded words, I can benefit from the thoughts of those who have preceded me. I can profit from others' experiences, though they lived in a different age and culture. I experienced the death of family and friends and sense that there is existence beyond the material. I discover that in all cultures, people believe in a spiritual world. My heart tells me it is true, even when my mind, trained in scientific observation, raises critical questions. I am significant. Life has meaning. There is a higher purpose. I want to believe it, but I may not feel significant until someone expresses love to me. When my spouse lovingly invests time, energy, and effort in me, I believe that I am significant. Without love, I may spend a lifetime in search of significance, self-worth, and security. When I experience love, it influences all of those needs positively. I am now free to develop my potential. I am more secure in my self-worth and can now turn my efforts outward instead of being obsessed with my own needs. True love always liberates. In the context of marriage, if we do not feel loved, our differences are magnified. We come to view each other as a threat to our happiness. We fight for self-worth and significance, and marriage becomes a battlefield rather than a haven. Love is not the answer to everything, but it creates a climate of security in which we can seek answers to those things that bother us. In the security of love, a couple can discuss differences without condemnation. Conflicts can be resolved. Two people who are different can learn to live in harmony together. We discover how to bring out the best in each other. Those are the rewards of love. We're like roommates. When John and Susan arrived at my office, they had been traveling for 3 hours. It was obvious John did not want to be there. Susan had twisted his arms by threats of leaving him. I do not suggest this approach, but people do not always know my suggestions before they come to see me. They had been married for more than 30 years and had never gone to counseling before. Susan began the conversation. Dr. Chapman, I want you to know 2 things up front. First of all, we don't have any money problems. I was reading in a magazine that money is the biggest problem in marriage. That is not true for us. We both have worked through the years. The house is paid for. the cars are paid for. Second, I want you to know that we don't argue. I hear my friends talking about the arguments they have all the time. I can't remember the last time we had an argument. Both of us agree that arguing is fruitless, so we don't argue. As a counselor, I appreciated Susan's clearing the path. I knew that she was going to get right to the point. She continued, "The problem is, I just don't feel any love coming from my husband. Life is a routine for us. We get up in the morning and go to work. In the afternoon, he does his thing and I do my thing. We generally have dinner together, but we don't talk. He watches TV while we eat. After dinner, he putters in the basement and then sleeps in front of the TV until I tell him it's time to go to bed. That's our schedule, 5 days a week. On Saturday, he plays golf in the morning, works in the yard in the afternoon, and we go out to dinner with another couple on Saturday night. He talks to them, but when we get into the car to go home, the conversation is over. On Sunday morning, we go to church, and so on. We're like two roommates living in the same house. There's nothing going on between us. I don't feel any love coming from him. There's no warmth. There's no emotion. It's empty. It's dead. I don't think I can go on much longer like this." By that time, Susan was crying. I handed her a tissue and looked at John. His first comment was, "I don't understand her." After a brief pause, he continued, "I have done everything I know to show her that I love her, especially the last 2 or 3 years since she's been complaining about it so much. Nothing seems to help. No matter what I do, she continues to complain that she doesn't feel loved. I don't know what else to do." I could tell that John was frustrated and exasperated. I inquired, "What have you been doing to show your love for Susan?" "Well, for one thing," he said, "I get home from work before she does, so I get dinner started every night. In fact, if you want to know the truth, I have dinner almost ready when she gets home 4 nights a week. The other night, we go out to eat. I do all the vacuuming because her back is bad. I do all the yard work because she is allergic to pollen. I fold the clothes when they come out of the dryer." He went on telling me other things that he did for Susan. When he finished, I wondered, what does this woman do? It sounded to me like he was doing everything. John continued, "I do all those things to show her that I love her, yet she sits there and says to you what she has been saying to me for 2 or 3 years, that she doesn't feel loved. I don't know what else to do for her." When I turned back to Susan, she said, "Dr. Chapman, all of those things are fine, but I want him to sit and talk with me. We don't even talk. He's always doing something. I want him to be with me. Give me some time. Look at me. Talk to me about us, about our lives." Susan was crying again. It was obvious to me that her primary love language was quality time. She was crying for attention. She wanted to be treated as a person, not an object. John's busyness did not meet her emotional needs. As I talked further with John, I discovered that he didn't feel loved either, but he wasn't talking about it. He reasoned, if you've been married for 35 years and your bills are paid and you don't argue, what more can you hope for? That's where he was. But when I said to him, "What would be an ideal wife to you? If you could have the perfect wife, what would she be like?" He looked me in the eye for the first time and asked, "Do you really want to know?" "Yes," I said. He sat on the couch and folded his arms across his chest. A big smile broke on his face, and he said, "I've dreamed about this. A perfect wife would be a wife who would come home in the afternoon and fix dinner for me. After dinner, she would wash the dishes. I would probably help her some, but she would take the responsibility. She would sew the buttons on my shirt when they fall off. Susan could contain herself no longer. She turned to him and said, "But you told me that you liked to cook." "I don't mind cooking," John responded, "but the man asked me what would be ideal." I knew John's primary love language without another word: acts of service. In his mind, that was the way you show love, by doing things for people. The problem was that doing things was not Susan's primary love language. It did not mean to her emotionally what it would have meant to him if she had been doing those things for him. When the truth dawned on John, the first thing he said was, "Why didn't somebody tell me this years ago? I could have been sitting talking to her for 15 minutes every night instead of doing all this stuff." He turned to Susan and said, "For the first time in my life, I finally understand what you mean when you say we don't talk." I could never understand that. I thought we did talk. I always asked, "Did you sleep well?" I thought we were talking, but now I understand. I'll give you 15 minutes every night for the rest of my life, starting tonight. You can count on that. Susan looked at John. "I would love that. And," she continued, "I don't mind fixing dinner for you. It will have to be later than usual because I get off work later than you, but I don't mind cooking. And I'll be happy to sew on your buttons. You've never left them off long enough for me to get to them. I'll wash the dishes the rest of my life if it will make you feel loved." Susan and John went home and started loving each other in the right love languages. In less than 2 months, they were on a second honeymoon. After a trip to the Bahamas, they called to tell me that a radical change had taken place in their marriage. Can emotional love be reborn in a marriage? You bet. The key is to learn the primary love language of your spouse and choose to speak it. Your turn. What does your spouse do to make you feel more significant? How about what you do for them?